to be premier in 12 months. You're not quite where you need to be. And so that mentorship, that guidance, that, folks, I used to sit there and listen to David. If you don't have a mentor, if you're not doing three ways with somebody, you're making a huge mistake in your business. You need to have somebody else on the phone with you that's helping you do three ways. And, that was a huge thing for me, David, and you were there. And I learned a lot of your verbiage. I still can't cover all you can about businesses and comp plans and ownership and things like that, but I learned a lot of the things from you, and I appreciate you for that. So what do we do now? Well, we still are out there building. We're still looking for people that we can come alongside and that we can help them grow. We can help them achieve their dreams and their goals. I want to go back to relationship building. We've learned how to build relationships with people. We've learned how to help people achieve their dreams and their goals. It's a process that I love to take people through. David, you know that, I wasn't really into goals early on. I didn't understand them too well. But once I began to start writing them down and getting them in front of me, I love to help people do that, to identify their goals and dreams, and then teach them how to prospect, whether it's ways that you taught me, going out in the highways and byways and talking to people wherever we go, making something happen. There are a few things that are just stick out so clearly. Make something happen every day that you're out and about. And we all go places every day. We're at the grocery store, we're at the post office, we're at, the ice cream parlor, wherever we're at, we can make something happen. It's a choice. I can remember when David would come home and he wouldn't have his 10 beans taken care of, and he went out to Denny's or down to the local 7-Eleven. But he did that because that's why he's where he's at today, folks. We just need to be consistent ourselves in what we do every day and, not shy away from it. And so Carol and I are on the phone with people, helping them build their business, doing three ways with their people, and looking for new people ourselves, because we continue to build our own front line, and we continue to help other people build theirs.
So you consider yourself a real strong everyday prospector, people you run across, strangers, just anybody you run across. You're just one of those that loves to go out and just make things happen. And,
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
This business will change you if you allow it to. I don't think people realize that. I didn't realize that. I had some really misconceived ideas about this industry years ago. I always like to tell the story, David, about when Carol and I were first married and we had kids. We were both so shy that we would flip a quarter to see who was going to call the babysitter so we could go out. And nowadays you can hardly shut me up, huh, David?
I got to say something. I'm going to say something that I hope you don't take as offensive, because it's one of the things I like most about you. You've gone through an absolutely, it's hard to describe the transformation that you've gone through. I remember years ago saying to someone, I said, I really like Tom. He's such an incredibly nice guy, but he's so shy and he's so quiet and he's kind of boring,
Absolutely. I would agree with you.
And I said, what I got to do is get him to realize the what's inside him and the potential in him, because this is like one of the world's nicest guys, and if he opens up, he's the type of guy, because I knew what your work ethic was. Tom's work ethic is this: when he decides he's going to do something, he does it. Whether it's installing a wall plug or building himself to 200K. I mean, it doesn't matter. When Tom decides he's going to do something, no matter how big or how small that chore is, Tom is one of these guys that he's a finisher. He just finishes the job. That's the thing I knew most about you, Tom. And I thought, he's such a good finisher. If he decides to do network marketing and to do Xango, he's a finisher. One way or another, he'll learn what needs to be learned. He'll start excelling in those things he needs to excel at. He'll move to the top. And here this guy, this shy, somewhat boring guy, will become one of Xango's biggest, best, brightest leaders. And you've done that. I mean, you can hear him on the phone tonight. I mean, and Tom, the transformation is just incredible. And with that, what I'd like you to do now is, we've got, because of the type of call this is and the way we advertise this call, I know that we have a lot of new distributors on the line right now. And especially, now that Xango's into this wonderful new phase of momentum that we're in right now here at the first of the year that I know is going to go on and on and on. There's a lot of new people. What's some of the best advice, if I might ask you this, that you can give to a newer, and not only a newer, but maybe a somewhat less successful distributor at this point? What are some of the things you tell them?
David, I would start out with defining your goals and where you want to be in Xango. I like one thing I learned from Godzik years ago was reverse engineering. Reverse engineer what it's going to take each day to get it done. If you've got a 6-month or 12-month time frame that you want to achieve things, you need to figure out how much activity needs to be there. And so, I was just working on this with someone last night, showing them that they and their group needed to be contacting 5.2 people a day because they wanted to achieve a certain rank within 6 months. And so that activity level needs to be known. You need to be working with some good mentors, not just one, but a multitude. We're getting paid, 9 levels up. There's lots of people that are working with different teams. You need to find out who those people are. I just had somebody call me yesterday morning wanting to know who, I know a little bit of my upline team. Who else is there? And would you give me numbers? And I said, sure. And so I looked that information up and gave it to her. So people are looking to find out who is their team that they can work with, get to know them, get to call them. Folks, I would love to call everybody in my downline. I really would. But time prohibits us from doing that. And so, we work with the people that call us. And I know what a lot of people think, and David knows it too. Oh, they're too busy. They're too big a pin. They've got too many people. And sometimes that's the case. When we want to take off and not answer the phone, that might be the case. But a lot of the time, we're here, we're available, because we run with the people that want to run.
I tell people the same thing, Tom. I ask people to be squeaky wheels. I said, don't you make one phone call. If you make one phone call, someone doesn't call you back, don't give up, because we're all busy people. We're all doing things. I know I've had lots of time on my hand to make phone calls and do 3-ways, and I've done a multitude of 3-ways the last 3 days. But then in the next 3 days, I'm not going to have time because I'm going to be up at that Xango camp with coming in town. We're going to be snowmobiling, and I'm going to be talking a little bit. I've been invited to help out up there with the 20Ks that won that contest. And so for about 3 days, I'm not going to be returning phone calls, and I'll be a little bit busy when I get back. But if someone calls and don't get a call right back, they shouldn't give up, because they never know what the people are involved in or doing. I'm telling you, the squeaky wheels get the most done. Be a squeaky wheel to your upline and let them know that you're serious, you want to build, because we're all looking for those kind of people in our organization.
Absolutely.
So I agree so much with that, Tom. Go ahead. I just wanted to kind of emphasize that because it's such an important point.
I appreciate you bringing that up. And one of the directions I wanted to go also, and I don't know if how we're doing on time here at all.
You guys
we're doing pretty good on time.
Doing pretty good.
Okay. Well, I wanted to just point out, being in Las Vegas and hearing some of the corporate VPs and some of the founders, and I got a chance to sit in the office of Kent Wood last week for a few minutes, and he just shared. They've been sharing for a number of months about the direction that Xango is going, David. And I know that you've been in a lot of these talks, and you realize exactly where Xango is going. We're 8 years into it, folks. We just passed, I think, 2.2 billion. Pushing rapidly forward ahead. The last thing I heard was that figure, but it could be way beyond that at this point. But think about this, folks. We're going to be the fastest company to hit $1 billion per year. The fastest company right now is 17 years, to hit $1 billion in sales per year. We need to do this in the next 8 years. So this is what Xango and their founders and the corporate VPs are looking at. And think about slicing.
We need to understand there's a whole game plan being built around that, and that's what's exciting. Part of that game plan, and so do I. There's a whole game plan. There's a whole game plan being built on that next 8-year format. It's just incredible.
We're not just talking millions. We're talking billions in growth. And David, I didn't have a clue, 4 or 5 or 6 years ago what $1 billion was. I really didn't know, but it's massive. It just boggles my mind when I think of, $1 million is nothing now anymore. $1 billion is something. And folks, you got to understand, do you want a slice of that pie? Do you really want to build a network of people that's effectively helping other people and helping yourself too? Because Xango has laid it out. Here's what's going to happen in the next 8 years so that we achieve this on year 16. We need to do $2 billion in sales every year. Excuse me, I said that incorrectly. I apologize. I said it and then I went, whoa, that's way over the top. Anyway, we're going to do $6 million in the next 8 years. And because of that momentum and that volume, now, did I make myself clear there, David?
Not completely. Do it again.
Okay, we're going to do 6. We've done 2.2 in the last 8 years. Folks, we're going to do 6 million in the next 8 years. That type of momentum, that type of volume.
I think you mean 6 billion in the next.
Yeah, 6 billion. I apologize. Okay, get my billions and millions mixed up.
Yeah.
But 6 billion in the next 8 years will push us into that momentum that'll take us to that $1 billion mark each and every year after that. That's going to be monumental in our industry. Folks, we've already hit huge monumental goals. The fastest to hit 250 million, the fastest to hit 500 million, of any network marketing company prior to Xango. So we're looking at what's the next big goal? Do you want to be a part of it? Do you want a slice of it?
Yeah. Speaking of that, and just remember, everybody remember, half of our figures we're talking about, half of that money gets paid back to us. Half of that money. I was on the phone today on a 3-way conversation, Tom, with somebody today, and talking to somebody in Arizona, and a prospect of somebody else's. It was a 3-way, and they mentioned they pay the same as us, and I said, oh, you pay the same as us, and I knew their pay plan real well, and I said, oh, you pay the same as us, and they said, yeah, and I said, could I make just a short little comment about paying the same as us? And they said, yeah. And I said, okay, I agree that your pay plan shows that you pay approximately 50%. And that's the same as us. I said, you happen to have a juice. They have other things too, like we do. But I said, you happen to have a juice. I says, your case of juice costs $130. I says, what amount